All right, so some insanely good news about the Rell Seas. I don't know if they honestly saw my previous video when that I made about the Rell Seas and the subscriptions, but Rell Seas is officially ending the gold subscriptions within November. And now, in my opinion, the problem was right when I made my previous two videos. My only really big problem with the Rell Seas is the fact that the subscriptions actually took ages, right? But what I mean by that is that it's been out for so long and they've been profiting off of the subscriptions for so long, and the game was basically dragging out. So you could basically say that they were farming subscriptions, and a lot of people have been thinking that as well. But now that they're removing gold subs within November, that basically kind of means that they're now at the ending phases of their development, at least, and that they're now no longer basically needing huge funds to basically make the game. So let's go take a look at what they said. We're removing gold sub within November. We've been stockpiling content to test with the red and blue testers. Previously, we'd only test in waves, old method. Small focus, test, stop dev, fix, continue development, finalize. And then the new method is big batch of dev content, test, fix, finalize, and continue development. And then after that, as stated, we'll be conducting gold and silver testing phases once we've finished red and blue testing. So for all current members. So that's actually very interesting. Now that they actually removed the subscriptions and whatnot, the only thing that's stopping Rell Seas right now is the release date. Are they actually going to be releasing? Are they actually going to start with this red and blue phase testing soon? I mean, we've been at this for ages now. We've been at this for years now at this point. Literal years, to be honest. And the only remaining thing now that they've actually removed the subscriptions, in my opinion, is for them to actually release the game. And again, even though I kind of called the Rell Seas a scam, or kind of basically made a video about it being quote-unquote a potential scam, I do believe that Rell Seas is a great game, and I did believe that it was going to release. The problem that I had with it is that they kept dragging it out with poor communication while profiting off of the subscriptions. But now they did also say that Rell Seas is that the subscriptions was to fund Rell Seas, which is very nice. But the thing with that as well is that they've had the subscriptions for years. But in all honesty, I can admit if I am wrong, and I do believe that this has definitely alleviated a lot of my concerns. And yes, Rell Seas, I never did think it was a scam, but I was kind of starting to think that it could potentially be being dragged out for them to make more money from subscriptions. But now that they've announced these stuff like this and that they're removing the gold subs, it doesn't matter anymore, right? Maybe Rell Seas really did take that much money, or maybe they really did profit off of the subscriptions, right? At this point, it doesn't really matter anymore. They're removing the gold subs and they're potentially moving on to bigger and better testing and potentially to the release date soon. It doesn't really matter anymore if they farmed us with subscriptions. As long as the game releases in a great state and as long as it releases as a great game, then personally, I don't mind. How about you guys? Do you mind if Rell Seas releases? Or do you mind if for example, they did say that, oh, we farmed you guys for subscription? Does it matter anymore if they release Rell Seas and it's a great game? It doesn't matter anymore for me personally, right? And as long as they manage to release Rell Seas in a great condition and it's, actually close to what they said, to how they hyped it up, then I would be happy, right? The only thing right now that I would be kind of disappointed in is if they actually work on the Rell Seas and then it turns out to not be as hype as they made it out to be, right? There's a lot of games out there, even AAA games suffer from this problem when they hype games up, when they hype their games up and, they can't deliver. There's a ton of games out there that has done that. Like, for example, Cyberpunk back then with the amount of bugs that they had, which is very, very unfortunate. It was hyped up to oblivion, but then it got, destroyed. The expectations were not met because of how much bugs there were. There's a potential that Rell Seas could be something like that. So hopefully that's not the case. And I believe, again, that the Rell brothers will be able to pull this off and that it's going to at least be the best Roblox game out there, right? Yeah, I'm very excited for Rell Seas. This post honestly did, increase my hype for it, because now that there's no gold subs, what that essentially means is that they're done with most of the funding required for the game. I think that they did use the subs to fund the game or help fund the game, and now that they're no longer doing it, it potentially means that they're actually ready to move on into bigger things. Like maybe they're done with most of the things that they wanted to do, maybe they don't need the funds anymore, maybe they're done with that, and now they're actually ready to move on with bigger and better things and potentially even closer to the release date. I do think that this announcement does mean that we are closer to the release date because there's really no reason for them to not have to announce this and then still be like 2 years away from the release date. I think now that they're announcing this, it means we're closer to the release date, which is very, very nice. Now that's pretty much it for today's video. I have nothing much left to say. The only thing that I have left to say is that hopefully Rell Seas releases in a great condition and that it's a really, really great game. That's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.